Now let's talk about just, this isn't spoilers. This is just on the official website, so it's publicly available. It's not something we're going to be speculating on. They do have characters that will be available for MK1, where they've already stated we got Liu Kang, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Raiden, Kung Lao, Katana Molina, Shang Tsung, Johnny Cage being the only name and the only character that we hadn't seen in the trailer. So that's like kind of like the only little snippet there that is technically new, and many others. Right, they let it go for the rest because they need that sweet marketing material to to get you to buy in as soon as your character shows up, right? But then right underneath that we have Kameo fighters, Kameo with a K in true MK fashion, and what they are and how they work. So in definition from what they have here, Kameo fighters are a unique roster of partner characters to assist during matches, creating expanded gameplay possibilities for players. These characters are chosen separately from the main rosters of fighters. So, in all that jargon, we have an assist-based game right now, which is not new to MK at all. Like, just because there's people that seem to be up in arms, because Twitter, whatever, Twitter's not a real place. I really don't care about it. But, what says on Twitter gets circulated real quick. And some people are like, oh my God, assists in an MK, this is crazy. I'm like, well, that's nothing new. That's been around, for a while. You can look at just MK9. There were partnered, 2v2 tournaments going on in MK9's lifetime. Like, there was extremely broken stuff. It was great. It sucked to fight, but it was fun, right? It's been a thing. And even I believe there was like even some modes. I can't remember like if there were any additional modes in like X or 11 that gave you something like that. It might have been like test your luck. That's like, messes with you, like messes with the stages and gives you certain things that happen. But that's not like you don't control that. Right, you don't control what happens there.
So what you're remembering is an MKX. Yes, there was a test your luck where random elements would appear on the screen. And sometimes those elements would be for either one player or for both players, and it would be like a bomb or a freeze or
a sector rocket or something and shit.
But in MK11, when you played in the towers, you could certain towers, and it was really cool in MK11 because like the towers would change like constantly. Like there was a tower that changed like every 2 hours. There was a tower that changed every day, every week, and those towers had for some of those fights, you were able to use like an assist that they gave you.
Okay, that is what I'm referring to.
And there's some content creators out there who are kind of showing like, oh, what kind of combos can we expect to see with assist? Like, oh, check out this like touch of death that I made with Scorpion and Sub-Zero's freeze. So it's kind of cool to see like what the possibilities are going to be. I'm hopeful. I think it's going to be great. But from the way that it's kind of written out here in the FAQ, it kind of like the first thing I thought about was Marvel vs. Capcom 1. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that game.
Yes, sir, please, sir.
Yes,
absolutely.
It's not randomized, right? Where we have to do a special code for character.
Yes. There's it's randomized to the casual, but to a good
seasoned player, you can always get Psylocke, you can always get Colossus, right? The go-to, right? Like exactly what to do, right? Yeah, absolutely. So it's not going to be that. So you're thinking, God, it was. And I forget how many you got. You like 5 or 6 of him, or like 4 or 6 of them. I forget how many. 5?
I think he was 2 or 3 because he was kind of broke.
No. He was at least he was a minimum of 4, bro. He was a minimum of 4 because I saw it the other day and I was like, damn, that was a lot of Colossus you could just set up with. That's busted. But anyway, back to Kameo fighters. Like you said, the way they're framing it, you're thinking more like Marvel vs. Capcom 1, huh?
I mean, that's kind of where my brain is going. Honestly,
and it's interesting because this is like traditionally has been not like the main way to play the game, is what also is kind of a big I don't want to say a red flag. I'm just saying it's kind of like the big signal to state like this is the new, right? Like they're not saying this is a 1v1. This is a 1v1, but there is assists involved in here. So it isn't traditional where it is just your character or a variation of your character. It's going to be, we don't know. It could be a full character, or maybe it's like they're going to do a variation type, and maybe the assist is to help kind of then fill those gaps to whatever play style you want to play your point character on, right? So that way you can be creative and have that player expression, right? That we all want to have in fighting games, where we can kind of like be creative with routes and how we want to approach a match. If we need to play a match a certain way, right? Kind of like how they've even introduced in MKS, right? You play a certain variation for a certain matchup because maybe it was better that way, right? Like maybe this matchup with this character was better if I played against this character. So it's really interesting that they're going with this, and they're prevalent about it. It isn't like I said, it isn't a side thing. It isn't an extra mode. It's like it's with Kameo fighters. Like this is going to be a component to it, and a unique roster of partner characters. Meaning, doesn't mean that they can't be both, but you know, we don't know. Does that mean we will see cameos, like a double entendre, right? It's a cameo. Is it a character that doesn't exist in the main storyline of this, but because the character has such legacy? Like, put an example. Let's say Cabal doesn't have a spot in the story, but you can still pick Cabal as an assist character in the game, right? And I don't know, maybe he does a TK Fireball just to be a total pain in my ass for another couple years, or you know, whatever. Does that mean that like that they're off limits, or will we never, you know, and we'll never see them as a main character you can play as a point, right? We don't know yet, so that's what, you know, a lot of speculation is on it. But I still find it interesting because that's I think that's a dramatic change for the casual. I want to say more of the casual, like MK player, you know, that, you know, isn't super hardcore into the competitive scene, you know, might not realize like, oh, well, that's, you know, that's new. It's like, well, no, it's not, but you know, it's going to be an interesting take on the formula, right?
I mean, the thing is, you also got to remember the fear right now that everybody has is my character going to turn out to be an assist character
yes,
and not a playable character?
Yes, exactly.
Like, and the wording is kind of pretty straightforward. And I think this has always been a bad concept for any game that has multiple characters, is strictly making assist characters that are non-playable, especially if they show up in the story, because people are going to feel more inclined like they should be roster character. Right. If they're not in the story, they're like, what the hell are they doing here?
It doesn't matter. Melina players are happy because she's in the game and she's, you know, she's there. She's there. So she's so
and I'm a Melina player, so I hope she sucks.
Oh God. See, you guys are just a whole other breed. But but yeah, so that's like interesting that they took that kind of that left turn. Like they're taking the chance with this whole changing of the timelines and kind of resetting everything. Are they also trying to, you know, you're always trying to reiterate on the game, right? You never want to just I want to say you never want to just put out the same game with just like a couple added features. I mean, some of us hardcore don't mind playing some of those games because that's just the games that we love playing, right? But they need to sell it as something new. They need to bring something fresh to kind of bring in more eyes, bring in maybe Marvel players that might want to test it out now, that are just good at assist-based games, right? Or like, you know, players in general that enjoy assist games, whether you're Skullgirls players or, you know, now you got crazy mix-up games that you can deal with, unblockables. There's no left-right, boys and girls. There's a block button, just in case you didn't know. If you're coming into MK, you don't know. There's no such thing as left-right. But, you know, like, I'm seeing as this is like their avenue is just trying to also kind of expand on, you know, like I said, that formula that's worked for so long and just try something new.
I mean, if you look at NRS's track record, or even like all the way back to like the Midway days, they never like just adding on to a product. Like I think UMK3 was just something that was super necessary, but Ed Boon definitely didn't want to do that. I think he felt really bad about having to, you know, basically essentially fix MK3, you know, not just by adding the ninjas, but like, you know, fixing fundamental like core things that were wrong with the game and ultimately making the game overall better. But, you know, there's always something new that they bring to the table. Even going to like MK9 and just doing away with like all 3D era stuff, going back 2D style, you know, no run mechanic, just kind of like dash blocking. And then MKX, we get the run mechanic back, very like mix up heavy, high octane gameplay. And then MK11, we get the time regeneration of your meter essentially. So like you don't build meter anymore, you wait for meter to come back, and it's more like they're on cooldown. Kind of reminded me of like playing like a like a League of Legends type game where your super good moves take a little bit longer to come back versus your not so great moves.
Yep.
So I'm not surprised that they went with something completely out of the ordinary, or completely unexpected. When people keep saying that, like, oh, MK, the next MK is just going to be like a rework of 11, and they're just going to like do the same thing, and I'm like, are you not paying attention? Like, it's always something different.
It is.
It's always like, and that's kind of like, that's what I see that Ed Boon likes to bring. He's like always wants to bring something new, something exciting. And if you look at when MK was around MK1, MK2 back in the 90s, it was competing with Street Fighter. And to a casual player, they're like, what is Street Fighter doing? Like, how many times do they have to release Street Fighter 2 by just adding like one or two characters over and over again? And I want to say there's like an interview from the 90s where Ed Boon said, I will never just add on to a game and like rebrand it and like say that it's a new game. Like, it needs to be its own game, like going from version to version. So that's the NRS special, always giving us something new. At least that's how I see it.
No, I mean, no, it's very true. Even from looking at the sequels, right? And even from Injustice 1 to Injustice 2, right? Pretty drastic leap in even the returning characters that came through, right? There was tweaks. They don't want to kind of hit. It was the same formula, but they definitely tweaked it to the point that they were trying new stuff, right? The gear system, all that stuff. They were bringing a lot to the table for.
I like that, actually. It reminds me of Injustice a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like, the gear system, I feel like was so untapped in Injustice 2, and it's almost like it wasn't ready. Like, they wanted to implement it the same way that they implemented the custom variations in MK11.
Yeah,
and there is this, like, again, if anyone played Injustice 2 like competitively or ever watched it, like, if you actually play the game, like, every character has like a whole new set of moves that are technically not for competitive play. They weren't balanced out for competitive play. Some of them were just like straight up busted.
They were so busted. Some of that shit was so busted. Bane was so online. Bane was like the ultimate raid boss, and heaven forbid that cat was also on Wi-Fi. I was like, I'm done. I'll be here next match. I just leave. Good Lord. But for sure, yeah, like so I am in a situation where I'm both surprised and like super stoked to see a fresh take. The other thing I actually wanted to say, like, little details from the trailer though. Did you notice like how much they were kind of implementing a little bit more of the MK movie into designs of the characters here, right? Like, I don't know if that caught your eye off the rip.
So what do you mean by the MK movie? You're talking about the most recent movie?
The most recent MK movie. Yeah, this is so bad. Like, oh God,
okay, which one?
So yeah, the recent one, the one with the completely original character, the protagonist. What's his name? Like Jake. Right?
Oh, you're talking about that one?
What was his name? I can't remember.
We don't care about him.
He might. You know what? He might show up here. Guess what? You might want to change your tune, buddy.
I don't.
Because he might show up here. Because two things.
Good actor,
guess what?
Bad character.
Guess what, guys? Sorry, I'm gonna bust your bubble real quick. It's about to get real.
Go for it.
One.
Go for it.
Actually, it's gonna be like 4 things. 1, Shang Tsung in this trailer, 1, looks a lot like the Shang Tsung from the movie. 2, it's been shown that his soul sucking ability, right, the way he takes your soul that he did to Kung Lao is quite literally shot the exact same way from the movie, and he's even eating it like he does in the movie. 2, Liu Kang's outfit is similar to the Liu Kang from the movie as well. Like, he's got like a white top and he's got the red belt, on the side and all that. But the other part is there's going to be a new one. We already know there's a new MK movie in production, or that's happening. Guess this. If you think for a second this game is not going to be a way to also help market and sell tickets to get into that movie, they are going to put somebody from that movie in here. Goro's dead, but Goro's been dead before. First of all, Goro's been dead before.
He's not coming back now.
Goro's been dead before. He's died, come back, and died again.
The worst character of all time in Mortal Kombat. He's no. It's not.
Wait, who's the worst character in MK?
Jake.
Oh, you're talking about from that. Okay, yeah, that was pretty disrespectful.
That was hot garbage.
The dude from San Francisco. Yeah, that was pretty bad. I don't even know if it was San Francisco. I just assumed it was. But yeah, I'm telling you, man, they're gonna tie it in here. We might see Jake. We might see Jake in here. And
I mean,
would it be some karma type shit if Jake was also busted and he was like the best character? So now you always see Jake?
No. We just ban him.
banned. Too busted.
Too busted. We're gonna hit him with that.
Busted, banned.
Like Quan Chi flying demon levels of busted. Like is that what we're looking at?
So is he really banned, or is he banned like Oni was banned? On the stream chat, just like constantly, like Oni's banned, Oni's banned.
We do both.
I don't think that's. I feel like, again, speculation. Don't really know what's really out there, but I feel like there's a big separation between what that movie was and what Ed Boon created, you know, and that's what a lot of people feel after they saw the movie. You know, it had some cool effects, it had some cool choreography, but like, what the fuck is this story?
What the hell happened? Who was asleep at the writing desk? God damn it!
So I don't really see them implementing that. I almost saw the release of the DLC skins from the original movie as a and I can only imagine that it's like sort of like a fuck you to the new movie, like hey, fuck you, we're not going to use any of your characters that you made or like any of the costume designs you did, but we're going to use our old ones and even go back and like and have them look exactly like the actors because fuck this, you know what I mean? Like it's almost,
I can see that.
And you gotta wonder like why. I mean, that property is so old, like why not implement both? And it almost seemed like they deliberately wanted the one, and it's like, you know, this is our movie.
Give me Highlander Raiden, please, any day. I'll take that skin any day.
You gotta understand, it's because of people like you who don't like the movie, including myself. I'll enjoy them saying the fuck you to the movie. All right, so I'll go buy the DLC even if I don't want to play the game.
They're smart. They're smart. They worked on our hate to get our dollar, man. Fucking marketing geniuses over there.
Hey.
I do gotta say this though, because I personally have said this before. I said it last show and I'll say it again. I know you guys are saying they're going this new direction, which I do like. I like a lot of this. What I'm curious is the game modes, right? Because that's always been a big thing that we talk about here, is the casuals need something to do. And as much as I love a lot of the fighting game-esque stuff, I really think this is a good time for them to maybe implement something like how they did Shaolin Monks, but maybe make it kind of like this adventure mode, right? Because like how a conquest mode they had conquest mode. I think a Shaolin Monk mode, because they talk about in the trailer a lot how they're like, oh, you could choose this or you could choose that. I'm like, oh, so are we going to be creating our own characters and just like maybe training kind of under these other choices? And maybe this is where the whole Shaolin Monks 2 concept can come from, where they can build it in the game, not as deep, not as in depth, but then maybe branch off and finally make another Shaolin Monks 2.
That'd be cool, kind of like a little appetizer to like maybe its own thing if everyone, you know, likes it enough. And you know, you kind of saw that in like the crypt modes in MKX and MK11, like they were really in depth, like all this detail, and you know, it could have been something like that. And now that we're on, you know, newer hardware, you know, it could probably handle something a little bit better to fit everything like this. And I think that's really what it is there's like, you're so limited on resources. But I think we're getting to an era where we could see something like that. And you could almost see like the trailer for MK1, for Mortal Kombat 1, had it almost had like a shift like in that middle of the trailer, like right before it got violent, and it almost felt like, I'm like, is this a fighting game? Like I don't. It almost felt
RPG?
like, well, no, but that's what it felt like, because they were like putting so much emphasis on the choices, and like they're showing you this world, the rivalries, like what to do with them, and then it went to like all out like gore, stomping on faces, splitting people in half, murder. Then I'm like, there it is.
Hey, we're back. We're back.
It was. I thought it was cool. I thought it was interesting that they're trying to, you know, show that it's not just a fighting game. That there's like a story and there's a lore, and you know, I could definitely see more of the story being implemented to this. Like even in MK9, like that was revolutionary. Like in 2011, where it was like, oh, I don't just play the stupid ladder mode and just
absolutely
beat it with every character. You play as each character, and like you fit this narrative that's going on throughout this whole thing, and it was amazing. Like it was great, and they kept doing it with the X, they kept doing it with 11. But yeah, maybe it's time to switch it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe it's time to kick it up a notch.
I do like the stories though. Like I think that's their main staple, right? You can't get rid of that, even if they tell it in a different way or a different format. Because I know I harp a lot about Injustice, but that's where it kind of felt like it started hard. Like they were telling this magnificent story, obviously from a comic book perspective, but now they implemented that into Mortal Kombat. Even I was like, look, if I could do a 3-day stream nonstop for playing just MK11, and I was like, I'm kind of done with this game, I still enjoyed that 3 days of like playing the story mode, really experiencing Mortal Kombat for what they've been working on for years. Now I'm kind of like, all right, well, you gave it to me, you got to keep giving me more, but just amplify it, right?
How do you do that? Yeah, it's tough because it's celebrated the 30th year, right? It's one of the oldest IPs that are going as strong as they are now in today's market, right? That's a cultural icon. It's got generations of people playing it, right? Like multiple generations, and a new one's about to experience it. Like, how do you kind of bring that back that you can sit someone down to kind of get enticed in? Which, like you said earlier, Arm, like it was revolutionary with 9 and their story, and they've only gotten better. So I'm like, I'm in extreme, and plus I'm like an MK lore cat. Like I just love me some MK lore. It's just it's just growing up with it. Maybe I'm a little biased towards it, but to see it now, kind of have a new take on it's gonna be just an experience, and like everyone else in here, we probably all can't wait to get our hands on it.
I will say this. I think you're gonna like this, and this is just a concept. I don't think it's a thing that will
shocker.
happen, right?
I'm gonna like an MK game.
But no, I really think that what they were trying to say was like, so we're gonna go through like this story mode, right? But it's gonna be more maybe RPG-esque, where you get to pick and choose who's on your side, who chooses to do what, right? Do you fight for Liu Kang? Do you fight for Shang Tsung? I think it's gonna give us more choices. We never really had that. We kind of had to follow a timeline, and now, if we get like actual dialogue, we can choose, and I think it's gonna get a little interesting. I think it's a different take. They haven't done that, where you get to choose. So we're always fighting for the humans, the mortal realm, but sometimes I just want to fuck people up and just be a god, right? So maybe that's what we're going to get a chance to do now.
Yeah, it could be like to even go back to like really, really old games where you had like trees of narratives, like if you choose this, then it branches off and it could be something else, or your ending is always going to be different. I mean, how many classic games have had like different endings based on like what you did throughout the game? So yeah, we could definitely see that, like whether you kill someone or let someone live, or show mercy to someone or insult somebody, like it could change the ending of your game. So that would be really cool. That would be sick, and make the game, replayable over and over again.
To this day, I lament Scorpion just not listening to Sub-Zero when he's literally telling like, bro, that wasn't me. And he comes back with the skull, like he like spilled the milk, and he's like, he's dead. And I'm like, bro, you could have changed so much. You were so close.
You're running timelines.
Yeah. Well, that was the fate. But so guys, real quick, we're actually gonna take off to another quick break before we let Arma go off to his night. But we gotta grill his brain a little bit on some multiverse stuff.
Sure.
Quick, and of course his event. So stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back.